Hi, welcome back to Stitchcraft. My name is Mary, the Stitchcraft Queen, and today is Thursday, May 8th of 2025. Crazy that it's already May. I feel like April and a lot of March just flew by, probably mostly because I was, bedridden for most of it. But it is crazy to think it's already May. And we're super happy because it's warming up over here finally. Obviously, it's Utah, so we have bipolar weather. But for the most part, we've had some pretty warm days, which has been so nice. And our girls are just loving it. You can see Chani back there. She's looking out the window. She does that. She likes to watch over us. She's always been one to look out windows. And at our old place, we had these huge sliding glass doors. We never really used the glass door part, but Chani loved to just, watch everyone coming and going out of those windows. So she loves that we have windows here too that she can look out as well. The reason I'm showing Chani is because I didn't want you looking, how I had it framed before was just right here. And it's pretty bleak and sad. So we'll liven it up a little bit with our girls running around. Hoping there's BB. But yeah, let's get on into it. I had some progress this week, not a ton. This week was a little bit difficult. I'll go into it more when I talk about more pregnancy things later on. But this week was definitely harder than last week. But let's get into my whips and then we can talk about pregnancy stuff later on. So first off is my little baby's hat. And oh my goodness, it is just so cute. Look at this. It's so tiny. It's hard to tell, but it's as big as my hand. Not even as big. It's so tiny and so cute. I didn't do a ton this week. I only had to do an inch. So there's that. I worked on most of it during church. I've made sure too that the rows down here match the rows up here. So we are ready for decreases. I would have probably finished this, but my DPNs, of course, the girls want to play right now. But my size 2 DPNs, which I need for this, I started casting on my husband's hat. And so they are currently kind of in use. I don't have a ton, so I could just pull it off and go from there, but we'll see what happens. I'll probably end up casting his on, and getting that to the 2-inch circular, or the number 2 circulars that I have, and then doing the decreases and casting off baby's hat. That one's almost done, so that is a good project to almost have out of the way. The next one, I wish that I had more progress on this one. I still had quite a bit, but it's not as much as I had hoped. Again, this week has just been a lot harder, so I didn't knit as much. And me and my husband recently, we got a lot into anime, which I can talk about the animes we watched later. But I just wanted to watch and enjoy instead of knitting for, once in a while. But I got through 2 colors and added in the next one. So we were right there last week, and now we are all the way up here. So I did, what is that, about 2.5, maybe 3 inches if we're being nice. But yeah, this blanket is the Anthology Throw. I believe it was Anthology. It's the one everybody did at Christmas with I feel like every Christmas time everybody does this with. It's either this one, the Sweet Shop, or the Battenberg. But most people do one of those blankets with their advents. And so this one is my Loco advent. I'm doing the colors in reverse order, just because the ones that I had out of the boxes were the last 4. How I stored them to move them over here, I just had to remove those 4. Took a photo of the order that they were in so that I had that down and everything. Oh my goodness, Phoebe. Can you quiet down, please? She's like, no, Mom, I want to play. But that's just how I had it. So I'm doing them in reverse order. And then I have, if I can get it, this is the main color. This will be the border once it is all done. And see, I have this really pretty purple that I'm adding in. And then I believe this one was day 17. And it's this really pretty, just kind of light purple. So we're kind of, I think, getting past the purples here soon and onto a really fun next color. I can't remember which color exactly is next. I deleted all my Instagram stuff and I didn't save any of it, so I can't go back and like look at which color came before that one. Obviously I could just open the box, but it's kind of fun opening the box as I'm going and getting a little bit surprised again that way. Okay, let's move on to yarny things. So I got one thing in the mail. I only have 2 yarns that I order now, and that is Row 1 and Sunday Fiber Co. Their Beatles socks. Sorry, they're being loud again. But their Beatles, they call it Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Socks Club Band, which is super cute. So I have those 2 that I order. And then the third one is Polka Dot Creek. I have fallen off of that. Hopefully this month we can catch up. I think I only have like 1 or 2 left to get to be fully caught up, because they did like a St. Patrick's Day one. I hope they're not sold out of that one that I didn't get, and then there was one other one. But I didn't have as much spending money in the last couple months because I was, bedridden, so we had to save where we could. So my yarn buying decreased a lot, but I like not having a lot of yarn and like getting a lot because I have so much. I was really blessed when we were living in Colorado to be able to get a ton of it. And because I had a good paying job. I still do. We're just getting I have to build my clientele back up now. But I was really blessed to have a ton of yarn, and so it's fun to be able to like actually work through it now and really appreciate all that yarn for what it is and for what I was given. So anyways, Row 1 was the one I got today, so let's go ahead and open that up. And I actually haven't even opened it up. Usually I do it ahead of time, but I just went and got the mail today. Ooh, I like this one. It's really bright and colorful. I love this, this green teal color. I'll call it like a seafoam green. That one is really pretty. And then there's like this hot pink one. The camera's not really doing it justice, of course. This one's super bright and colorful. And then obviously the oranges, those ones are a lot more neon-y too, but that's beautiful. And this one is from Fiber Hustle, it looks like. Now those will be really fun to add to my blanket. I felt kind of like an urge this week to get back into my Row 1 blanket, so I might be picking that one back up and maybe leaving, now that the blanket's done, I'll probably leave that one behind, or not the blanket, the baby hat. Now that one's done, I might put that on hold for a second. Okay, and then they all come with a little stitch marker. This one looks like it's a little music note. Not music note, what's that, a treble clef? Whatever it is, that one's really cute. And usually it has something to do with the dyer or the time of year, so let's see if we can figure that out real quick. Oh, it's inspired by vinyl and album covers. So that's why they have the little music clef note. That's fun. I was trying to look. They have one color called like Absolutely Live. I don't know any of the others by name, but that I always love when people take inspiration from music. Obviously, as I also order the Beatles yarn. All right, so that's the Row 1. All right, let's talk media and like what we did this week. The big thing, which I'll go into when we go to pregnancy stuff, is yesterday, this is why I'm filming this a day late, we went and got our 12, 13 week is when they like to do it, anatomy scan, anatomy ultrasound, I guess is a better word for it, of our baby. I'll show some pictures and talk more about that later. Movies, we saw yesterday, since my husband had the whole day off work, and so did I, we went and saw Sinners. Pretty decent vampire movie, I'd say. It's really good. I like it tackled a lot of like racism and like some of those topics because it's set back in the day. I believe it was 1930s, I want to say, and it's in the South, so there's still a lot of those kind of racism things that were very heavy during that time period. But that was a really cool part of the movie. Me and my husband afterwards, though, like, some people say that it's like life-changing. We did not think it was necessarily life-changing of a movie, but still, it was really good. The other one we saw was the Thunderbolts, or as Marvel has kind of spoiled it, which I think it's funny because they're very big on not spoiling, and then they spoiled their own movie. Opening weekend, well, after opening weekend, it's called The New Avengers, or they're called The New Avengers. It was really good. My husband ended up liking that more than Sinners, which is funny because he wanted to see Sinners more. But after seeing both of them, he liked the Thunderbolts better. It's really well done. It tackles like depression and feelings of loneliness and like anxiety really well. My husband deals with that, and I have that runs in my family. I get it like seasonally. But we both thought it was really well done, and they stuck. It was like a really cool take on the source material, and all the characters are just awesome. Like they're all like anti-heroes, kind of like Deadpool, but then they end up being like the actual heroes, which was really cool to see because most of them have been like the villains in one story or another in the past, few decade. Well, I guess it's been about a decade and 15 years. No, because Iron Man came out in like 2008, so it's been almost 20 years of MCU. But anyways, a lot of them have been villains in one story or another, so really cool to kind of see their struggle and then them become like the heroes. So, but very good. I would recommend that if you like. Well, it was very much okay. Like, yes, Marvel seems to be back. Hopefully, they've had 2 pretty solid ones in a row. Me and my husband though are worried because basically we've been saying this since we heard that it was coming out, and we heard that Doctor Doom's going to be like the new big bad and big villain. But basically the whole MCU is going to ride on the Fantastic Four movie that comes out in, I believe it's November, I want to say, when it comes out. I might be wrong on that. Usually they have one in the spring and one in the fall, or at least that's how they used to do it. Back when I was in like high school, there'd always be one in the fall, and that's kind of like their smaller but fun one. Usually that was like, they had like one hero that they were spotlighting, and then they would have kind of the bigger one in the springtime. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it's good. It looks really good. Very like family driven, which is what the Fantastic Four is about. And the big baddie is Galactus, which is like one of my favorites. I watched Superhero Squad Show growing up. Well, not growing up, but when I was in like junior high and high school, I went back and watched it. And Galactus is just such a funny character in that. He's like kind of the big baddie of the first season. But one of my favorite parts is how Galactus in that series eats planet Earth as he like takes out a straw and stabs it in the ground and then sucks it. So I'm hoping, me and my husband both really hope that there's a scene where he takes out a giant straw and just sucks the earth, because we think that would be funny. But it looks like they're doing him justice. They're making him an actual being instead of a cloud of like purple smoke or whatever was done in the original Fantastic Four movie. I think it was part 2, yeah, because 1 was Doctor Doom. That one was the best one so far that they've made. And then Fantastic Four 2 was Galactus and kind of Silver Surfer, but I don't know. They did Galactus dirty in that one. They didn't even give him the cool helmet. So we're happy that in the next Fantastic Four, it looks like he does have his really cool helmet that looks really funny. So yeah, hopefully it goes good, and everything at Marvel, they're actually like making that a good movie, because if it's bad, I think the MCU is kind of done for. Because that movie sets everything else up to come. So there's that. All right. And then anime. We watched a lot of anime this week. We were both feeling it, me and my husband. And so he actually watched the whole thing of Jujutsu Kaisen, which is one I wanted to watch with him, and I was so mad, but he's rewatching it with me now. We're almost through the first season. It's been really, really good. We would have probably finished it, but on Sunday, he came to me Sunday morning, and besides going to church, we spent the entire day just watching. It's one called Mashle, spelled Mashle, and essentially what it is it's an anime that makes fun of Harry Potter, and it's like kind of like a parody on it. It's so funny. It's about this guy that is born in this world where everybody has magic, but he doesn't, and everyone that doesn't have magic gets killed off because they're seen as like terrible people or like not picked by God or something like that. So they just get killed off. But this guy finds little baby Mashle, realizes he doesn't have magic, and takes him into the forest. He grows up, but how he grows up is he trains him to be super, super strong. So essentially Mashle, or they call him Mash, he's just like the super strong gym bro, and then he has to go to this wizarding school in order to like live with his papa, because he gets found out at one point. But they make a deal with like the magic council or whatever that if he like passes the school and becomes the grand divine wizard, then he can live with his pops in the forest without, anyone to hold them back. So really funny premise, absolutely hilarious. And it's just so good. So that's one I would definitely recommend. It's only 2 seasons right now. But we're really hoping to make another one. So that's that. The other one, I don't know if I told you guys about, was Solo Leveling. It's a Korean anime actually, but we finished that last week. We started our anime kick like last week. And that one was really good too. And we can't wait for a 3rd season on that one as well. That one seems like it might be coming out in like 2026. We have a little ways to wait. Another show that I watched, my husband actually found this. It's called, It's called Cheat. And I forgot the rest of the tagline, or Cheater or something. It's on Netflix, and it's in England. So they all have like these great British accents. But essentially it's these couples where one or both of them have cheated. They broke up and then they would like to get back together, maybe. But they bring them all back together in this mansion, and they essentially have to like work through their cheating problem. So really terrible basis, absolutely trash TV. But it's really fun to watch. So that's another one that I am working through right now. I think that's all the media stuff that we've done and fun things. But yeah, now on to pregnancy stuff. Yeah, we'll go over morning sickness because it's still here. This week has been really tough. I think why last week was so good and this week got kind of hard again is because I had a lot of the residue medicine still in my system, and now that it's like, whoop, it's all gone. A lot of that morning sickness kind of came back. For yesterday and the day before, I threw up, it was Tuesday, I threw up 3 times within the first hour and a half of waking up. So I was really discouraged. And then yesterday I threw up twice within the first 30 minutes of waking up. So again, really discouraged. For those of you that don't have morning sickness or that have like mild and moderate morning sickness, consider yourself super lucky because it really does suck. Thank goodness though, on Tuesday I did find, I found a cure to kind of stop it that day, and it seemed to help. Yesterday, it really, really helped, and this morning I got it first thing in my belly, and it really helped. I haven't thrown up at all today, fingers crossed it stays that way. But yeah, the little baby is definitely taking its toll. We're in week 13 now though, so the placenta is supposedly taking over all those, hormone productions, and hopefully that calms things down in my body. So that's kind of the big thing that studies have shown that causes and then makes morning sickness go away is when the placenta really starts to take over. So it's technically fully developed last week, and then this week it starts to like really grow and expand. and take on a lot of those responsibilities. So between this week and then week 16 is when my morning sickness should just hopefully keep getting better and better. So that is what we're praying for. You might ask what I found that helped so much. Here's my husband's Fast Enterprises. That's the company he works for. It's a little cup. It's my chai tea, which if you know me, I am obsessed with chai. My dear cousin introduced it to me, I want to say it was probably 5 or 6 years ago. She had like the Starbucks one, and she had it with soy milk, and this was like still when I was fairly new to veganism, like within my first 2 years, I believe. And she was like, I had this with soy milk and it was really good and I need you to try it. And so I did, and I was instantly hooked. Like I went and got it all the time. And then I found and I would just get it as like a treat then. And then when I moved to Colorado and became a flight attendant, I would get it whenever I would work because there's Starbucks in, every airport, at least almost every airport, the big ones. So I would usually get it most morning as like a pick-me-up, especially those really early mornings when you need some caffeine. And then when we got married, I started drinking more and more of it. I got off the Starbucks one. That one I really only get on occasion. Starbucks one isn't that great. There's a lot better brands out there. The one I choose, they're called Cocolata. I believe that's how you say it. They're like an authentic Indian brand, because that's where chai comes from. Baby, get off. I know you want to play in a minute, okay? But it's these two brothers from India, and they wanted to remake the taste from home, and so they've done that with their company, and it is delicious. They offer both just the tea leaves and stuff, so you can brew it yourself and add your own spices. Or they offer a concentrate, which is what I get. They have a monthly subscription, so I drink enough. It's a 2-month subscription, so they send it every 2 months. I wish they would do monthly. But I drink enough every month. I go through about 2 cartons, and so I get 4. I stopped drinking it the last 5 weeks because when my pregnancy hormones spiked, and my taste buds went all out of whack for a little bit, and my smell was terrible. But I tried chai one morning and I spit it out. I'm like, this is disgusting. One morning it was the greatest thing, my morning drink, and then the next, disgusting. And so I just stopped drinking it for so long. But on Tuesday I was like, you know what? A lot of people say ginger helps, and I'm at a spot where I'm willing to try anything before going back to medicine, because I don't want to be super loopy again now that I'm, trying to work and get back into normal society again. So I went ahead and gave it a try, and it tasted so amazing again. And almost instantly my tummy felt relief from the lovely ginger. For those of you that don't know chai, so it's a black tea. A lot of people have been turning to it recently, especially over coffee, because it still has it has less caffeine. The concentrate, it's estimated there's about 30 milligrams, I think is what they do it in, to 50 per serving, which is good because as a pregnant lady, I have to stay under 200 grams of caffeine a day. And I drink probably 2 to 3 of these a day recently. So that's been a big help. But they contain a lot of super yummy spices like cloves and cinnamon and star anise is in a lot of them. Cardamom, if I didn't say that already, a lot of just really yummy Indian spices. Sounds weird, but you pair it with a milk to make a latte, and it just tastes super good. If you have the concentrate or the tea by itself, it's really bitter, even if you get the sweetened version. But you pair it with your favorite milk, and it is just to die for. I mix half and half about, and it's great. I take mine over ice. I like the iced version. I've never really had it hot, but I can imagine I wouldn't like it hot. If I want a hot drink, I'll have hot cocoa. But I like my chai over ice. But that has been the biggest lifesaver this week. And so much so that today I haven't puked, and I would like to keep it that way. And yesterday after our, what was it, our ultrasound, our anatomy scan, we went to an Indian restaurant because I was like, you know what? Samosas sound really good, and I know I've been puking my guts out and not really able to eat anything but carbs, but like, let me go try samosas because it just sounds really good. I don't care if I puke them up. I just want something that tastes good. So we went, and lo and behold, I had forgotten that Indian food has a ton of ginger in it. So I ended up eating a whole samosa, which isn't that big. But for me, that was basically going to be my whole meal. But then I was like, you know what? I want to try their aloo gobi because it's really good. And there's a lot of ginger in that and veggies, and it's healthy. And I was like, worst case scenario, I'll just have some rice if like I feel it upsetting my tummy. And I was able basically to eat a whole meal like I would before I was pregnant. And I haven't been able to do that since I've gotten my morning sickness. So that was huge for me. So I had some of my leftovers for lunch with all that ginger, and it just tasted so good. And my tummy is happy. And yeah, like my stomach itself doesn't feel nauseous. I think most of the nausea is coming from, like right now, my saliva just tastes really bad to me. And I think that's where most of the nausea taste is coming from, or at least sensation. Most of my nausea is definitely, I feel it's hormonal, because except for like a couple things I've eaten over the past like 2 weeks, it's all been like tiny little, like I'll catch like a glimpse of something and my stomach will be like, that looks gross, and then just like throw up. Even though like it's not even that bad, it's like a dirty pan. Or like I'll catch a tiny whiff of something. It doesn't even smell bad, but like to my nose, it's like, oh my goodness, that's terrible. And then I'll just, throw up out of nowhere. The worst one is right in the morning. This is when most people, at least with like more severe morning sickness, throw up, is first thing in the morning, your stomach is just like, there's nothing in me, so I'm gonna throw up. Don't know why it does that. It's terrible, but the thing is they want you to eat crackers right when you wake up so you don't throw up. But that's been like, other than just like those weird little sights and smells, that's when, my nausea has been triggered the most, is right when I wake up. Yeah, I'm hoping this ginger like little hack works, because it sure didn't when I started getting morning sickness, but I really hope that it keeps up and that I can stay, nausea, at least as most nausea free as possible until it's completely gone in a couple weeks. Or at least I hope it's completely gone in a couple weeks. All right, on to my adorable baby. So we went and got our anatomy scan yesterday, which is why I'm filming this a day late. And there's so many cute pictures. They said everything is looking super healthy and nothing abnormal about the baby. They weren't able to tell, because sometimes during these scans they're able to tell gender. At the hospital we go to, they said that sometimes they're able to, but it's really rare in like 12 to 13 weeks, but it's a lot more accurate at 20 weeks, because you get another one between 20 and 22 weeks. And then there's also a blood test that we're going to try to do in 2 weeks when we go back to see my OB. And that they can tell because they look directly at the baby's DNA. And so that's kind of a surefire sign that your baby is a boy or a girl. Pretty easy to tell that whether they have an X or a Y chromosome. But yeah, they said everything looks healthy. The baby was so funny. So they make you, during these anatomy scans and during these ultrasounds, they want you to come with a full bladder. So they're like, drink a lot of water. Online, it said to drink like 32 ounces within 2 hours of your scan. I was like, there's no way I can do this, because I knew water sometimes has been upsetting my stomach, so I've been having to get liquids from other places, like my chai. But I just drank my chai, I had my morning cereal and drank that milk, and then I just was sipping a little bit of water here and there when I could, but I was fine with just that. Because I'm like, I know my bladder right now, it's not that big. Baby's sitting on top of it, so I can't hold that much. But the baby, after they were poking and prodding with, because there's some places where they have to look, and like angles that they have to look. They really shove the ultrasound wand like in your gut, which doesn't sound bad because it's like, it's not pointy or anything, but when they're doing it for a while, it is pretty discomforting, I would say. But between the pressure of the wand and the pressure of my bladder, the baby was uncomfortable, and so it was really cute to see. But essentially our little baby was like bouncing up and down in my uterus and kicking his little legs all over the place and weaving his little arms. Really, really cute to see. He even did like a little stretch. Again, we don't know if it's boy or girl. I just keep calling him a he. Or I guess it, a he. It's better than calling it it. But it was really, really cute. And so they eventually had me empty my bladder, and he calmed down after that because he had a little more wiggle room to sit comfortably in there. Okay, here are some of the photos from the ultrasound. So there's his little face. You see all of his teeth and his little nose. It's so cute. The teeth, actually, I've learned they develop really, really early, but they don't obviously poke out till much later. And then this one's so cute. This is what he looked like most of the time. He was just all curled up. He was so cute. But he had his legs crossed too. They got a cute photo of his feet. I won't show you that one because it's kind of blurry. But he had them crossed in the womb. It was really cute. And then there's the other ones of little baby. So super sweet. They said that everything looked good. Heartbeat was good. Yeah, they even like, it's really cool. They were able to like look at his brain. They could see his little diaphragm. What else did they look at? They looked at like where the umbilical cord is, and obviously they looked at like my whole uterus to make sure that looks good. And they even looked at like the ovaries, because I didn't know this, but the ovaries are what produce the majority of the hormones, along with just my hormonal center until the placenta takes over. So they wanted to look at that and make sure everything looked good there. But it was really cool. And then they were able to look at like baby's stomach and like his little intestines that have started snaking into him from the umbilical cord. We're able to see like the placenta. So it's really cool to like, okay, all these things are like developing properly and little baby's doing okay. Yeah, I think that was it. That was the fun part of this week. I will be eating a lot more ginger this week to hopefully keep my stomach calm. But yeah, there's like a lot of weird things. Recently I've been looking up like pregnancy cravings because I'm really curious what mine are gonna be. They seem to start once like morning sickness kind of lifts up, so we'll see what my weird food cravings are pretty soon. I'll be sure to share them with you all. And food aversions. Food aversions already are weird because I'll like think of something and be like, nah, that sounds disgusting. But a second later it'll sound really good. I think that's just a part of my current morning sickness. Hopefully that goes away real soon because it's getting kind of sick and tired. Yeah, I think that's it. In 2 weeks, we have my next OB/GYN appointment. Like I said, hopefully we'll get the blood test done where we can look at baby's DNA and see gender that way. We're not going to do a gender reveal party. I think that they're dumb. And my husband thinks so too. So we're not going to do one. We just want to know our baby's gender and start planning for that. Yeah, I think that's it. So I will go ahead. I know this is a very long one. We had a lot to talk about today, which is dumb because I didn't even do that much knitting. A lot in life has happened. But yeah, we will talk to you guys next week. We should be good on Wednesday. So we will see you on Wednesday of next week. Normal day. Back to it finally. In 2 weeks though, it'll probably be another, either we don't do it or a late one because of my doctor's appointment. But until next week, we will see you and stay safe out there. Enjoy the sun if it's shining where you're at. And yeah, have a good day. Bye-bye.